Hello, everybody, and welcome to this webinar hosted by Capacity Media. Thank you very much for joining. Title of our webinar today is Accelerate Your Connectivity, Direct and Ultra-Fast Connection from Marseille to the World. And it's a collaboration between Capacity Media, Telehouse, and Orange Wholesale. My name is Jack Haddon, and I'm a senior reporter at Capacity Media, and I'll be hosting the webinar today. And I'd very much like to introduce my co-presenters, Sami Slim, Managing Director for France at Telehouse, Franck, who's the SVP of Marketing and Business Development at Orange Wholesale International, and Younes Stouky, who's the Head of Product Marketing at Orange Wholesale International also. During the webinar, everyone will gain valuable insights into the strategic positioning, connectivity ecosystems, global development initiatives, and partnership opportunities that are offered by Telehouse and Orange Wholesale in the global data center and connectivity markets. The speakers will tell you more about the company's wide connectivity ecosystem and infrastructure networks and how these can benefit all of your businesses listening in today. At the end of the presentation, we'll have a 15-minute Q&A. So I'd like to invite everybody to make sure that you get all your questions in for Telehouse and Orange throughout the talk. You can do that in the text box below where you're viewing the stream today. And then I'll be able to see them on my side and read them out for you. In the unlikely event that there's any technical difficulties experienced while you're watching, all you need to do is just hit refresh, and that should kind of set everything back to normal. So yeah, hopefully we don't have to resort to that. So I think that's it in terms of housekeeping. So I'm going to start things off. My first question is for Sami. And that question is, what specific infrastructure have Telehouse put in place to guarantee fast and direct connectivity across the world's various hubs?
Great question. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Jack, for this introduction. So basically, Telehouse has been for 30 years building network capabilities, network data centers. We started in the 80s. Actually, very few people know that Telehouse is the first data center company ever in the world to have been created. We have been created around the arrival of new incumbent in the telco space at that time. And since then, we have been playing the same playbook, which is following the connectivity, following the cables, terrestrial ones, submarines ones, the network POP of our company, of our customers, and building data centers that are suitable to these kind of operations. Today, we have more than 45 cities open in the world. We have more than 400,000 square meters of IT space, again, all centered around connectivity, not only connectivity to the network, but also connectivity to the cloud. And we are serving hundreds and hundreds of customers around the world. If you go to the next slide, you can see how we have played that connectivity playbook. Basically, we open the network map, and we see where are the networking hubs in the world, and we position strategically Telehouse data centers around those cities. If we focus into Europe, we have opened London, Frankfurt, Paris, and Marseille. We are still looking at other connectivity hubs to be open in this area. But basically, it's always the same story. We follow the network, we follow the cables, and we build data centers around this connectivity. I know that Capacity Media wanted to make a focus on Marseille and the arrival on Marseille in the network landscape lately. That's why if you go to the next slide, you can see how Telehouse has focused specifically onto French connectivity in French market. First of all, we have been operating in France, Paris, since 25 years. And we have there one of the most connected data centers in the country. And we have also established a few years ago a first presence in Marseille because this city has become a gateway for the European traffic to come. And from there, we have partnered with some of our historic partners, such as Orange, but we will discuss that later, and others, to build a home for connectivity also over there. So all in all, in France, we are forecasting a 1 billion euro investment in the next 5 years to consolidate our data center presence around those network areas. And we are planning to make the Paris-Marseille link being one of the global backbone of the internet worldwide. And that also will be happening thanks to partnerships with customers such as Orange, but again, we will discuss that.
Thanks, Sami. Hopefully that's a good introduction for everyone. But I guess building on that, what's the difference between the connectivity offered by you guys and other solutions that are out there in the market?
Well, yeah, that's exactly how we like to show ourselves to our customers. But basically, we are not simply about real estate for machines. We are not building space to host some servers and equipment. We are about connectivity. And if you go to the next slide, maybe you can see how our data centers rank into the global connectivity map worldwide. Basically, London is the biggest connectivity hub. Our data center in London is the biggest connectivity hub that exists on the planet right now. So basically, we operate a data center, a campus of data center, where more than 821 networks are co-located, and that makes it easy for our customers to see, to make their connection happen and to make their data relevant. But that strategy has been deployed in all our data centers worldwide again. So when you look at Marseille and the importance of Marseille in the network right now, it's also in the top 10 regions worldwide for the interconnection. That's why it was a natural home for Telehouse to be there. So all in all, France has this very specific thing to be hosting 2 of the top 10 cities in the world in terms of global interconnection. So it was quite natural for us to be there. And again, our difference is that in each of our data centers, we offer the largest variety of connectivity that can ever exist in each hub.
Great, thanks for that, Sami. Let's go over and meet the guys from Orange Wholesale International now. So Franck, Orange Wholesale International, everybody knows Orange, but this is perhaps like a new brand or a new name that we might not have heard before. So why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit more about who Orange Wholesale International are?
Yes, thanks, Jack, and thanks, Sami, for this introduction, quite impressive about Telehouse globally and with the zoom on France. So first of all, hi, everyone, and I'm very delighted to be with you today. And more than happy to introduce who is this brand new Orange Wholesale International, as you mentioned, Jack. So first of all, we are part of the Orange Wholesale division of the Orange Group. And this division is fully dedicated to manage the wholesale activity, all the wholesale activities for the group. On our side, we are focused on the international wholesale business. And to make it very concrete, let's start by focusing on our customers. Globally, we have 3 types of customers. Our first customers are retailers, retail operators, on fixed, on mobiles, on both, convergent operator. They could be MVNO, they can be B2B operators, and we can provide value to all of them. Then, as a wholesaler, we are part of this wholesale ecosystem. So we are also working with our peers. The wholesalers, sometimes they are pure wholesalers, sometimes they are dedicated to the B2B. And for all of them, we are providing a lot of capacity. And finally, the third typology of customers are the one from what we call the digital economy, the digital ecosystem, looking for infrastructure and services to deliver their value. They could be the hyperscaler of this world, the GAFAM, the BATIX, but also the tier 2 around them. Then we have the infrastructure players deploying always more data centers capabilities. We just have this overview from Telehouse. And finally, we are also serving content and media providers. For that, we have a full international team, including, of course, our salespeople, but also operations across the globe and engineering, to be very close to our customers. And we do that with strong assets, and I will focus later on these assets. And we have a brand, which is the Orange brand, which is already a quite recognized brand. And we are also recognized in this industry of the wholesale activity and international wholesale activity. I had just put some highlight about our best global carrier on data, best global carrier on voice, and winner of the Best Sales Team Award at Capacity Europe. It was back in October last year. And is somehow a testimony of our capability to accompany our customers in this everlasting fast-paced changing.
Cool, thanks, Frank. And cheeky plug from our side, the Global Carrier Awards 2024 are going to be opening soon. So if you fancy giving Orange a run for their money this year, I'm sure they'll welcome the competition. But in the meantime, Frank, like, this is a really fast-paced, changing environment that you guys are living and working in. We're talking with operators, content cloud providers all the time, and there's a really strong, rapid technological evolution happening. Without a doubt. So what are the main trends for you, and how does this affect your customers kind of, day to day?
Yes, Jack, as you are saying, we are living with main and fast technology evolutions. For few of them, and some of them, they are already in operation today. And all this is driving our customer needs, and consequently also asking us to evolve quickly in order to answer these new requirements. So the first trend that we are seeing is traffic growth is very important. It's not requiring rocket science globally, but this requires both infrastructure investments and know-how, additionally to capacity management with more and more QoS differentiation. This in a full internet type of bandwidth consumption. Then we have this cloud native network solution is a clear, not new, but concrete and operational paradigm that we need to deliver. I will zoom on that, but with our 4 layers infrastructure enabled by our tier 1 backbone, this allows us to answer this with our telco cloud infrastructure being part of it. Additionally, to be widespread across the globe, because we are really an international actors, it allows us to provide end-to-end performance flow delivery combined with flexible cloud flavor services. Of course, this telco cloud is a IaaS, PaaS type of infrastructure, encompassing all the native technology from virtualization to AI, containerization, all these kind of things. And this allows our customers to adapt their offerings to the fast-paced demand from their own customers. With that, we are at the heart of very fast-moving evolution trends, which is the platformization economy, making us at the forefront of the NaaS, the CPaaS business for us, of course, but as well for our customers. We are there to serve our customers that have customers behind them. So we are doing that with the integration of all the industry standardization, the MEF, the TM forum, the camera type of standardization. And this facilitates finally the capability to federate all resources in an end-to-end value chain orientation to deliver faster, to deliver better, and to deliver end-to-end all services to customers. Building and running such an infrastructure to adapt customer demands requires a permanent touch on answering, of course, the performance, but as well all the more than ever key demands on security, on sovereignty, on energy efficiency, part now of any request. I do hope that all this is answering your question, Jack, on these trends.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I guess a follow-up question is, how does this translate more globally for your customers? I think that would be an interesting point to touch on that.
Yes, you're right, Jack. Let's make it concrete. In a nutshell, this distributed infrastructures gives our customers a real game changer to deliver their business and also think about innovation. Deliver is first a question of performance, as I said before. And with our tier 1 backbone, we can deliver this with huge bandwidth capabilities associated to our ability to deliver strong QoS by using some specific protocol like FlexAlgo, achieving MPLS like QoS on internet backbone. But performance is also thinking end-to-end, from site, from users, up to the cloud. The design and the implementation of our telco cloud POPs, co-located across the globe with main cloud service providers, is the way to ensure this south-north end-to-end performance. Last but not least, those POPs are designed as a PaaS IaaS infrastructure to deliver services providing the agility requested by customers that are used to get switch-on, switch-off type of services in a cloud environment today. So it is what this secured by design infrastructure is allowing us to provide, adopting all the way to deliver and manage these services through portals, through APIs, interfaces for our customers to manage, to monitor, and to control their services. If we look at it from another angle in order to be even more concrete, we can see that all this is already in use today. This angle allows us to see how this 4 layers infrastructure that I mentioned before is meant to provide agility performance in a full security by design way. The 4 layers are very easy. First, we have the transmission layer, the connectivity resources, satellite, submarine cable, fibers. Then we have our IP backbone. And then we have our PaaS IaaS infrastructure, the so-called telco cloud infrastructure. And on top of that, we have all our services. Finally, what is important to understand is each layer being able to be developed separately from the others, but with the ability to interconnect each of these layers with API. And if we want to go even more straight to the point, with some current concrete example on what we are delivering thanks to this, I said before that our wholesale industry is evolving hand in hand towards the rest of the market to on-demand services, network as a service, with probably the particularity that the underlay, the network piece, remains with a very high importance. If we look at a pure legacy service, a pure wholesale service, the layer 2 service, EVPL, our customers today are able, thanks to this 4-layer infrastructure, to ask for eligibility, to ask for quotation, to ask for ordering, to ask for upgrade 100% online. With cherry on the cake, they can get it a full seamless manner, the service with the local loop up to the site of their customers or up to the cloud, using our own capabilities or third-party one, with the same user experience. And we are doing that thanks to MEF API LSO Sonata. In the mobile roaming ecosystem, we are also proposing this local breakout service, providing strong performance as we have demonstrated in a test within the GLF umbrella, achieving with local peering and a regional packet gateway, the lowest possible latency for IoT connected use case, with minus 52% versus home routing. So local breakout in the roaming environment is definitely a game changer. But finally, the way we are moving forward in this industry with our wholesale as a platform approach. And if we take a step back at our global activity, this wholesale as a platform approach is part of our daily way to deliver even more value to our customers. This alongside with the 4 other Olympic rings. Paris 2024 is soon now and will be there this summer. So first, we ensure that our customers, especially our operators ones, are optimizing the value of our network on international voice and messaging. Then, that we are delivering a best-in-class services solution on data, whether it is EVPL, IP transit, IPL, all kind of data services, mobile services, CDN, for them to develop and maximize their own business. Of course, that sovereignty, agility, and ESG are natively part of our activities, and so respectful of our customer services and customers. And last but not least, that we provide more and more infrastructure, capitalizing on our now and our assets to ensure capacity and diversity. But this last point, this area, will be further developed by Younes later on during this presentation. And for that, I'm giving the floor back to you, Jack.
Yeah, thank you, Franck. Well, let's hand over in turn from me to our final presenter up here that we haven't heard from yet. We can see in one of your Olympic rings here, we've got capitalize as one of the kind of core pillars. Younes, coming over to you, how do you capitalize your infrastructure within Telehouse's footprint?
Thank you, Jack. Hello, everyone, and indeed a nice transition to what I will say right now. But first, I would like to highlight again that this joint webinar between Telehouse and Orange is completely natural, because on one side we have Telehouse and the data center infrastructure and all the services around. And on the other side, we have also the connectivity assets from Orange that we can provide. And basically, we have exactly the same customers, being the hyperscalers, the telco operators, the cloud providers, and so on. And these customers, when they need and they go to Telehouse for additional space, additional power, additional security, at the same time, they will go to look for more connectivity. So the two goes together, and that's why we are here today with Sami and Franck on this webinar. So you see, when it comes to the requirements from this customer, actually the requirements can be a bit different. So Sami has pretty highlighted the requirements that the customer has on the data center side. On the connectivity side, the main requirements are pretty much the following. So the first thing is resiliency that can be provided by the provider. The second thing is the reliability. And the third thing is the scalability. So that's the main requirements. Of course, depending on the needs from the exact customers, the requirements can be a bit diverse. So when we look at the map that we see on this slide and focusing on the Europe and the different data centers from Telehouse, we see that actually Orange Wholesale can provide all the connectivity requested by customers to go from one data center to another data center being in Europe, or to go from these data centers to other regions, relying on the submarine cable that Orange Wholesale has, either on the transatlantic with Amitié and Dunant to reach the United States, either to Africa with ACE, so that's Africa on the west coast, or also to Asia or Middle East through all the submarine cables landing from Marseille. So if we come back to the requirements from the customer, I would emphasize that Orange actually is fully meeting those requirements, especially on this footprint in Europe. So the first requirement that we see on the market is the resiliency that we can provide. And Orange has some strong differentiators on that because our networks rely on our own assets in France. So I'm talking about the fibers and the ducts that we use in France. And thanks to that, actually, we are able to fulfill strong diversity requirements compared to what the market could be offering. So most of the routes, we have at least 2 diverse routes to reach any of the main hub connectivity. And for some of the routes, like Paris-Marseille, that I will come back on the next slide, we do have 3 diverse routes that will be available this year. On the other side, so now I will come to the reliability. So in terms of reliability, there are several ways to propose high reliability to customers. So the first way is, of course, to protect the service. So this comes with protection option that we have. So with Orange Wholesale, we have several protection options which are available. And these different options allow us to position these depending on the exact needs from the customers. For some customers who need the highest availability, some customers will have some requirements in terms of delivery timeline, or some customers will have also some requirements in terms of latency. So having several protection allows us actually to position the best depending on the customer needs. And of course, when we talk about reliability, we are enforcing also some strong SLA commitments. So up to 99.99 with a specific protection option. And of course, we are talking about monthly commitments. Scalability, so the last main requirement from customers. So of course, all these routes are 400 gig enabled today. So now we are able to support customers requiring high capacity, high bandwidth between two locations. And on top of that, we are also promoting lots of advanced features. Some of them are linked to the quality of service we offer to the customer, which is a very important differentiator on the market. So here I'm referring to, for example, the IPL online monitoring. This allows customers to be able to check the performance that we have on those circuits directly by connecting to the online portal. And we have also some advanced capability that we have developed. So one of them is called IPL Online. So this one allows the customers to get instant quotation online, and also to be able to get the order being processed online, and to follow up with the delivery and the different steps of the delivery online. So I think we can go to the next slide. And on the next slide, actually, I'm focusing on a specific route that, Sami, you have mentioned a bit earlier, because indeed in France, we have the specificity to have two connectivity hubs. So according to Télégeographie, Marseille today is the 7th connectivity hub in the world. Paris is the 4th one. So we can anticipate more and more capacity needs from customers on these routes. So as I was saying before, this comes with the fact that 400 gig interface are enabled on these routes. But when customer needs more and more capacity on the routes, diversity and triversity is becoming a key requirement from the market. So on this route, a bit later this year, we will have a third route which is available. So that's the route going through Bordeaux. Okay, so today we have already two routes, which are the one on the east side of France, and we will have a new one going through Bordeaux. So on the market, you may know that this already exists in some of the competitor footprints. But the main difference that we can see with Orange Wholesale offering is that those three routes will be all in France, meaning that all the three routes together will be more direct and offer better latency compared to what the rest of the market will be able to offer. So that's a key differentiator as well, knowing that latency is still a key requirement. And on our side, it allows us to emphasize the fact that those three routes are fully relying on Orange Wholesale infrastructure and not on third-party infrastructure. So that's the main point I wanted to highlight on this offering from Orange Wholesale, which allows to connect all the data centers from Telehouse and also to the submarine cables and to the other parts of the world.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Why don't you talk to us a little bit more about kind of Marseille in particular and its position, and the solutions that can be made available through Telehouse and Orange Wholesale International there.
Sure. So now, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Jack. So now let's focus indeed on Marseille. So Marseille, as we were saying, we are talking about the 7th connectivity hub today. That's according to Télégeographie ranking. But we know that, according to Télégeographie, this will progress in the near future, because we are talking about Marseille being ranked as a number 5th in the world in the near future. And we are talking about capacity needs from the market, which will increase by 4 times in the coming 3 to 4 years. So that's a huge demand that we can foresee in Marseille. So as we know this, and as also explained earlier by Sami, this is due to the fact that Marseille is an historical place for submarine cable landing. So this is not a new topic, and this is the case since a few decades already. Okay, so Marseille has developed this infrastructure and the expertise from the team, and Orange is actually a clear leader on those services since a few years and still today. If you look at the map that you see on the left part of these slides, we can easily understand why Marseille has reached this position. We see on one side that Marseille is well located to welcome submarine cables from different regions of the world. So we are talking about connectivity from Africa, from Middle East, and from Asia. So this is the case since a few decades already. And on the other side, if you look at the north of Marseille, actually we have all the main connectivity up from Europe, which can be easily reached from Marseille. So easily reached because there is this infrastructure, so not only from Orange, but from different market players. And when a submarine cable operators wants to land in a specific city, actually one of the important driver as well is not only the landing, but also to see how can be reached the main connectivity hub. And so Marseille is offering, thanks to its position, this ease of access to these hubs. Okay, so now why do we want to focus on that today? So on Orange Wholesale side, and Sami will follow up with Telehouse side right after. So on Orange Wholesale side, what is new is that actually, as we want to be ready and continue to be in the leading position for the coming years, we have developed and deployed a new infrastructure that will be available later this year, which is a connectivity ring. So this connectivity ring will connect the 2 landings that we have in Marseille. Okay, so we have 2 landings since some time. They offer diversity to submarine cable operator that needs to have diversity in terms of landing. And they will be connected to this ring, and this ring will allow them to reach data centers, and of course the data center from Telehouse, so that the submarine cable operator can house their SLT in any data center. So of course, it's always the choice from the submarine cable operator to decide where they want to locate their SLT. But the main benefit of this ring is that it will offer all the possibility to the submarine cable operator. So the main advantage will be the fact that will be relying on brand new fibers. So the performance will be the best performance that can be found on the market. In terms of diversity, of course, we have ensured that we can have 2 paths to connect the different data centers. We have a full scalability because we have a high count of fibers inside this ring. So no matter what's next for the submarine cable, if they want to plan for additional submarine in the future, there will be some fiber pairs available. And flexibility as well, because with this string, actually, if, for example, Telehouse plan a new data center in the future in Marseille, actually, it will be possible to connect this future data center to the ring so that we can adapt, actually, to any future evolution that could happen in Marseille. So that's the main advantage of the ring. And of course, I forgot to start with that, but this ring is fully dedicated to submarine cable operator. We will not use those fiber to do anything else that connecting the landing to data centers to locate the SLT. And I finish with a reminder of the full scope, because of course Orange is not providing only the connectivity between the landing and the data center. Orange can offer the full set of services in Marseille linked to what the submarine cable operator needs. So I'm referring to the lending services with the two choice of lending and all the services associated to the lending from the design phase to the operation phase and through the deployment phase as well. I'm referring also to the submarine cable deployment and maintenance, so full turnkey services on the submarine parts, thanks to Orange Marine assets. The connectivity to the different hubs and also some housing services that we can offer if it's needed. So that provides a good overview of all the services that we have in Marseille. And yeah, I will come back at the end if there are some questions about that.
Yeah, thanks, Younes. I'm glad you mentioned questions because we are coming towards the time for our audience Q&A. So if you do have any questions that you want the guys to answer, type them in the chat now. I've seen a handful come through already, but yeah, any last ones be great to have them in. But yeah, before we get to that, let's come back full circle back to Sami to tell us a little bit more about Telehouse and how you're improving connectivity from Marseille to other worldwide destinations.
Well, I think Younes and Franck just showed how the city is really a great case to see the relevance of having a carrier, a full stack carrier like Orange, and a connectivity hub data center like Telehouse partnering up to increasing the value of such kind of hubs and making them easier to navigate for anyone that wants their traffic to flow from those cities. So, and this is really the reason why we have invested so heavily in the city. And again, we have one data center already up and running there that is connected to the Orange Ring dedicated to the submarine cables. And we have a second one that is planned for a couple of years. And that also will be connected to the Orange Ring for collecting the submarine traffic. But it's not only about submarine. The strength of the city is that we, in our data centers, we collect those submarine traffic, and then we make the customers that are installing their SLTE or their infrastructure in our data centers choose how they want to deliver their content or their data. Do they want them to stay there in Marseille or to go to another route, submarine route, for example, coming from Asia and going to Africa? Or do they want those data to be flowing up to the FLAP region, so Frankfurt, London, Paris, and London, and Amsterdam, sorry, and from Marseille again. I think Younes showed how easy it is and how resilient and how much capacity you can have to go up to the FLAP region. But you can also go reach other regions such as the US and many other reasons. Now, I'm having in mind one customer case. It's actually a German software company that is operating a software dedicated to some agriculture industry, and their #1 customers are actually located in Brazil. And they are offering this software as a SaaS, a software as a service. And historically, they have been hosting their data for some sovereignty region in Germany and going to Sao Paulo with more than 250 milliseconds latency. And this has caused them to have some troubles with their customers. But since they came to Marseille, they have divided this latency by 2, simply because their customers now do not need to go from Frankfurt to London and then to New York and then to Miami and then to Sao Paulo. They just go straight from Marseille directly to Sao Paulo. And those kind of use cases where you shorten the distance between the content and the user are really the game changer that Marseille is offering right now, and why people like Orange and like Telehouse are partnering up to increase value in this city, and why we are continuing to investing into such kind of growth in Marseille.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Sami. And then I guess last question really from me before we jump into our Q&A is I guess more around Telehouse's strategic development in Europe. It's driven by optimizing the speed and reliability of connections from Marseille to major international destinations. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, when you look at the map of Europe and how it is fed, I would say, by terrestrial and submarine networks, you can see that Marseille is definitely a hub that is there to stay and that will be continuing to grow in the future. I believe that Marseille will be in the top 5 globally of interconnection hubs, and it will catch up with Paris, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, and London. But I think Marseille is also beneficial to the flat market because, again, it's a link between the southern part of the planet and the northern part of the planet. So it's actually not taking out market share from the flat region. It's actually increasing the size of the cake here for everybody. I think we will see other regions coming up to be hubs. Even if it will not be as comparable to Marseille, it will be as important. So we have opened Istanbul. We think that it will become one of the hubs also. We are seeking some positions in Portugal. I think we will go more and more south also because the traffic will happen there. But ultimately, the network map that you see here is what we rely upon to build our data centers and give our customers, when they arrive to our data centers, the choice to manage their traffic and their interconnection as they want. And my last point would be that the reason why this partnership between Orange Wholesale and Telehouse is important for us and will be brought forward in the future and strengthened in the future is because there is a great synergy between both our values. I mean, we give the customer equipment a home, and Orange give the customer data a route to go wherever they want. And this type of synergy is something that we have seen immensely successful in Marseille. We think that it can be successful elsewhere, but we are betting really heavily in this Marseille success.
Thanks for that, Sami. And I think that's a good place for us to jump into our Q&A, because one of the questions that's come through here is around the fact that landing points and telecoms hubs in the Mediterranean are heading south. And I think that the person that submitted this question gives some examples of Marseille, Genoa, Barcelona, Greece, Akaba. And they ask, in which future telecoms hubs will you be investing? So I guess we just heard a little bit about that from yourself. So why don't we throw that one over to Orange to get your input as well. Younes, Franck, if you want to jump in and take that one.
I can jump in, and Younes, don't hesitate to complete on that. So of course we are seeing currently lots of a new project coming into the Mediterranean area effectively, and also lots of projects coming from Africa to Europe, and we are really seeing a huge investment in all regions. I have seen Akaba, which is very important as well because of the current geopolitical events. This route from Akaba and being able to connect directly to the east side of the world is also very important. So, of course, we are looking at all these, both new roads, a new landing station. I had the chance to visit a landing station in Barcelona during Mobile World Congress. We are driven by 2 elements. Of course, we need, as Younes explained, to reinforce our portfolio of assets in order to serve our customers and to diversify it. So, of course, it's part of what we are looking at. We have 2 types of let's say, a key element to continue invest in all these things. So the first one is our, let's say, quote-unquote, home usage from our affiliates. We have 26 opcos outside France. We have the 18 opcos in Africa and Middle East. We have the 8 opcos in Europe. So they have huge demands to develop their business. So they are coming to us in order to see new route, new performance, new whatever. So it's part of our key elements to continue to invest. And we have some specific demands from our big customers, as I was mentioning before. So each time there is, let's say, a good capability to have a return in investment, we are looking to go further on all these places. And of course, all the places that have been mentioned in the question are currently under our radar in order to make sure that we don't miss any opportunity. Younes, if you want to give more precision on that.
Yeah, I think you've said it all, but yeah, indeed, we are monitoring very closely what's happening, and there are lots of changes which are ongoing on the market. Everyone is looking for diversity. Everyone is looking for new routes. We see that everything can happen also on the submarine cable or international connectivity. We see what's happening at the moment on all the connectivity cuts that there are. So we see that there will be more and more demand on diversity. And when we talk about diversity, we talk about the routes, the landing, and then the connectivity to the data center. So there are lots of developments ongoing. Then, as Franck has mentioned, for Orange to be positioned as a key player, we need also to rely on some services which we are able to offer. So it has to go through some affiliates presence. So that's why on the countries that you have mentioned initially, actually we don't have so many affiliates there, and there are lots of developments ongoing. So we are still monitoring what's happening to see how this could change the connectivity in Europe. Actually, with all these new landings which are developing everywhere, the connectivity requirements will change. But of course, on our side, for Orange, we are focusing on what we can deliver value to customers. So it will be mostly in countries in which we have affiliates.
Got it. That will make sense. One question for me. Can we see the slides? Yes, you can. We'll be attaching them to the replay of the presentation, so you can just come back and find them attached to the video once we finished it being live. So yeah, let's move on to another question then from our audience, which is, how is Marseille attractive financially for ISPs, infrastructure providers, operators, or OTTs? Does anybody want to jump in and kick us off on that one?
Sami, if you want to start.
So many use cases, so many. I'm sure Franck and Younes will have a lot also. But basically, when you look at, for example, South Asian ISPs or eyeballs, and of course the OTT as well, and so these guys come from, let's say, Singapore and to Europe, and they need some content, they need some traffic. Usually, historically, they came to Telehouse London, Docklands, because this is where everything happens, at least, let's say, 10 years ago. Since the arrival of Marseille, basically, they don't need to go to London anymore for many, many usages, except for some very specific ones, like financials or others. So now, what they do is that they relocate some of their interconnection and their POP to Marseille, and they, arriving from Singapore, let's say, to Marseille, they don't need to pay another fee to go to London and back for their interconnection or for collecting some traffic. They just collect it locally. And that in itself is a cost saving. That in itself is also a better latency, because Paris-London is roughly 30 milliseconds that you will lose. So those kind of use cases now are so ubiquitous that it has become kind of no-brainer to go to Marseille for so many customers. I think it will be strengthening up as this hub is going bigger and bigger, and the geography is such that you can see from the map that from Marseille to Frankfurt to Amsterdam to London to Paris, it's so easy. I mean, it's the same for trade at the time, right? People came there, and because of the geography is easy, you can go by boat quite cheaply up to the northern part of Europe. I think it's the same for the digital economy. There are some cities that just geographically it makes more sense for any operator, and it's cheaper and it's safer for any operator to go through the city, I believe. But I'm sure, Franck, you have a lot of...
Yeah, just want to add on what you just say. I think it's, if you look at the map, effectively, you can see Marseille is really as a crossroad from the east to the west and from the north to the south. So currently what we can see is, as you were mentioning, whether it is people from North America or from Asia, it's also a way to jump into a market which is quite huge. I think the European market is huge. You mentioned it, Sami, that the road to go to London, to Amsterdam, to Frankfurt are very easy from Marseille. But in the meantime, you could go down to Africa, which is a country where everything digital is booming today. We are part of all this ecosystem to develop the digital economy in Africa with as an Orange Group, and we can see that everything is accelerating also in Africa. Even though we are seeing the growth of the installation of data center, we can see that some actors from the west, from the east, are looking at it. They are not. They probably don't find currently a business case to be present directly involved in this continent. But being in Marseille is a way to address this continent in the cheapest way, and to observe the development also of the Africa continent, and probably to do in the next few years another additional jump to go there. And additionally, it's also a way to diversify the road for all these guys instead of going from the traditional road that you mentioned, Sami, whether it is Frankfurt or London as the first intention. And very often it's done as a second road, as a first diversity for them to address Europe and to be able to address new opportunity for them.
Thanks, Franck. Younes, I'm sure you've got some thoughts on this as well, but I do want to ask you the next question as well, which is, so the person that asked this question says, we serve clients in highly regulated sectors like investment banking, financial services, wealth management, private equity, venture capital industries, financial trading, requires high availability and ultra low latency, as we all know. Apart from your IP transit capabilities, could you share your experience in supporting internet exchange peering and direct access to internet exchange points? Thanks. So I kind of messed up the cadence of that, but hopefully we got the question.
So yeah, on the presentation, I was focusing on the product called IPL, which is the product linked to high bandwidth capability. Here to serve these customers for which actually the bandwidth is a bit lower, we have the EVPL product that can provide point-to-point connectivity with exactly the capacity requested by the customer, and with the high reliability required for this type of business. So indeed, we have this possibility, and we do rely on our EVPL product to connect some enterprise from Asia, for example, to some IX located in Europe. And it will offer exactly what those customers need in terms of availability and latency as well.
And we can add on that as well, and especially I was reacting to this sovereignty and the type of demand. We have developed our own CDN, which is developed in Europe, located in our point of presence. So it's a full trusted and sovereign CDN that we are developing, and it's completely complementary of our IP transit or EVPL type of solution that Younes mentioned.
I think the question also touched on the internet exchanges, Jack, and that is a really important point, I believe, because historically internet exchanges have been concentrated in the flap markets. It's no longer the case. They are also present heavily in Marseille, and they are actually very present in our data centers, including, for example, France IX or DKIX or others. Historically, Telehouse has actually helped created in the late 2000s some of the major interconnection IX like Lynx or France IX, but now we can see that their importance has gone even further for so many of our customers, also for reducing the cost of reaching some content. But my message is all those IXs are present in the Telehouse, in all our Telehouse data centers, including in Marseille data centers.
Got it. There's another question here that I'd like really keen to ask you guys. So they say, good afternoon. The fact you are large and universal is clear, smiley face. And if we want to locate in your data centers, then how can we connect our network with Equinix where we are located now? Do you, for example, in Frankfurt or Amsterdam, also have your own cables throughout the city?
Well, definitely not. But that's why we're partnering with Orange, so that everyone from Telehouse can connect to any other data center carrier, including Equinix or others. And this is where the value of Orange and Telehouse, I think, is at its full and best. We are in a mission to keep internet an open thing. I mean, digital should not be at the hand of one company or one provider. It should be open. Customer has to have the choice to be in a Telehouse data center or not in a Telehouse data center, to use an Orange network or not in the Orange network. And I think this is where our value lies, I believe. And this is where we have invested heavily in Marseille, by the way, because historically there was only one data center provider there. We had to come to break that monopoly in that city. And when we break those monopolies, we make sure that our customers, again, have the choice, for example, through the networks of Orange, to go and link with any other data center.
Cool. Frank, Younes, anything you'd add? Or we do have one more question and only 3 minutes left, so I'm keen to... Okay, cool. So the last question that we've got come through is someone asking for more details on Akaba. Do you have plans to co-locate it there? I guess the question is, yeah, what are your plans for Akaba? Is there anything else you guys can share beyond what we've already discussed so far?
No, I think it's a bit early stage. It's just something which we are seeing some plans on that. So we are looking at it, but from our side, we have not absolutely decided yet.
Yeah, same for Telehouse.
Okay.
We're looking. It's an interesting location. We're simply looking at it.
And we actually did get one last question through, so thank you to whoever sent that for helping us fill the last 2 minutes. How can the GCC countries benefit from these services? So it's Gulf Cooperation Council, I believe, like Bahrain,
yeah.
Oman.
I'm firmly convinced that Marseille is making the Gulf closer to Europe. At least from digital point of view. So the GCC would definitely benefit from connecting to Marseille very intensely. And actually most of our customers, international customers, are from the Gulf region right now in Marseille. But I think we should go further. I think maybe that's an open question, but why not, making those connections wider than simply present in Marseille data center.
Actually, just to complement, the GCC countries are already connected to Marseille. So they have several routes to connect GCC countries to Europe. Some of the routes go through Marseille, and some of the routes will go through alternative routes through Mediterranean or Turkey or some other countries. But Marseille is already an existing route from these countries.
Okay, wicked. Well, I'm afraid that's all we had time for. Yeah, thank you very much to everybody that's joined live. Thank you to everyone that's watching this on demand. And extra special thanks to Frank, Sami, and Younes for a really interesting discussion over the past hour. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for providing some great insights. And I'm sure, if people want to get in touch and kind of learn more from you guys, you'd be more than happy to speak with them as well. So, yeah, thanks to everyone for watching. We hope this has been useful. And don't forget to sign up to subscribe to Capacity Media if you haven't already for more of the same over over the coming months. We've got a lot of exciting webinars planned. We look forward to seeing you there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.